Now, on the 23rd of Nisan, we call that Chaf Gimel Nisan, marks the Hilul of a very famous rabbi from Tunisia. His name was Rabbi Menachem Mazuz Z'tl. He was about close to 70 years of age at the time the great Tunisian rabbi passed away. Now, he actually came from great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Rabbi Menachem Mazuz, happened to be one of the great rabbis of Tunisia, and his mother's name was Rabbanit Amima. He was born actually in the year 1884 in Jerba, the island of Jerba in Tunisia. Remember, that was a place, well, let's say, was a bastion of Torah learning and Jewish life in Tunisia, respectively. He would learn Torah at a very, very young age among some of the great rabbis of Jerba of his time, especially his father, and his father's auspices, Rabbi Menachem Mazuz, who happened to be a very great rabbi over there. And I think his father, Rabbi Menachem, was actually the president of the congregation, Jewish congregation of Jerba, respectively, so he was very, very much well connected in of itself. They say that he was hard of hearing, it was reported over. His father would actually help send him to learn privately, with private tutors in himself, and he was a star student of various great rabbis, including Rabbi Nissim ben Chacham Aaron HaKohen, was one of the great rabbis who spoke about various occasions on this series over here. I think we did a video with regards to that great rabbi not so long ago. He had a phenomenal memory, incredible Torah memory. He was considered an expert with regards to various different Torah books, in of itself, all the huge library of collection of various Mepharshim and Torah books, especially books of the former chief rabbi of Turkey, Rabbi Chaim Pelagi, who was one of the great rabbis also mentioned about extensively in this series. He had a great library also, so a huge amount of books to actually learn from those days. It was to have an extensive library was hugely beneficial. We didn't have in those days, let's just say, the digital facilities like we have nowadays. He would give a lot of charity, and he was involved within regards to business, various different businesses, and I believe would actually print books of various other rabbis inside that facilities. Now, he got married. His wife's name was Rabbanit Mina. She happened to be the daughter of Rav Bar Chaya Haddad, who was another great rabbi in his time. They would have 3 children, it was reported over, including Rav Shlomo Mazuz. Also, he happened to be the author of the book called the Midrash Shlomo. So Rav Ben Sion Mazuz was another one of his children, and his daughter's name was Rabbanit Kamasana Chana. That was her name. She happened to be, I believe, reported over, the wife she would become of Rav Matzliach Mazuz, she would become Damo, who was murdered, I believe, in the early 1970s, and she was mother of Rabbi Menachem Mazuz, who just passed away in the last 2 days, arguably the greatest rabbi of this generation, Tunisian rabbi for sure, of this generation. And among his grandchildren, as we said before, obviously was Rabbi Menachem Mazuz, who was Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Kisei Lachamim, very, very great yeshiva based in Bnei Brak. Also, Rabbi Tzemach Mazuz, who I think was founder and manager of Shiva, Rabbi Yechezkel Mazuz, I think, and Rabbi Baruch Mazuz, if I'm not mistaken, who would be, I think, the manager of the Kupat Kisei Shlomo, and also Rabbi Alter Mazuz was among his descendants. We mentioned him also, I believe. I think it was his Hilul, if I'm not mistaken, during the festival around the time of Sukkot. Now, it's actually interesting. He would actually work Rabbi Menachem within regards to trade business. He would deal with in regards to loans for foreigners that would actually come, I think, and within regards to that, but I think the business really fell because of unpaid loans, it was reported over. In 1919, he actually published a book, the Sharei Rachamim, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was in a manuscript form, if I'm not mistaken, and I think part of it was lost in various different times, if I'm not, shortly after. In 1945, Rav Menachem Mazuz will actually move to various other places. I think he would be very much traveling in of itself. He did suffer some sufferings before he passed away, health problems, and passed away in 1953 on the 23rd of Nisan. It was, I believe he was buried in Jerba. He was, and I believe on the 12th of Kislev in the year 2003. We're talking about here. nearly 22 years ago here from the time of recording. They would move his bones to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel, and to be buried in Har HaZeitim, Mount of Olives burial plot in Jerusalem. I think it's reported over that in the year 2030, from the National Library, they were able to find extracts of his manuscript of the great book, the Shari Rachamim, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it would actually come, his great-grandchildren were actually published, if I'm not mistaken. Various different chidushim and teachings of Rabbi Menachem Mazuz was very much featured in it. And it was printed, I think, very much connected to the book of his father, the Kiseh Rachamim, and I think of his son, the Medrash Lamont, respectively. And I think various consciousness of that Teretz Kenim also would be printed, also within regards to connection with the Sha'arei Rachamim also. I think there was a Menachem Yerushalayim, another printing that was printed at a later stage also. So he was one of the great Tunisian rabbis of his time, of Jerba. He passed away in the year 1953. We're talking about here from time of recording, 72 years ago. Please don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. It's today his Hilula here on the 23rd of Nisan. Sadly, here Rabbi Menachem Mazuz, Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Kiseh Rachamim, had just passed away on the 21st of Nisan. It was actually his funeral yesterday here from the time of recording. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you descend from any of these great Rachamim that we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. We're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesterday. If you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos to the other people respectively, and I would really appreciate it. So wishing you well, a Shavua Tov, and take care, be well.